The case we are talking about today is full of twists and turns. When the police thought the case was pretty clear, they didn't expect that another horrible secret was behind it. In April 2009, a woman in a deep coma was sent to a hospital in Suzhou City. A nail with a wooden board was stuck in the left side of her head. Through a CT scan, the doctor saw that the nail had reached as deep as the brainstem. The injured woman was Zhang Jinfeng, only 21 years old at that time. How did this happen to her? The skull of a human being is so hard that how can a nail of 4 inches long be stuck in it?
中午在睡午觉，然后我醒来就是迷迷糊糊，就是听见有人在叫唤，我一醒来看见他就是头钉在钉满，第一反应我害怕，就是害怕。
This man was Zhang's husband, Law Lichun. He said that when he woke up, he saw Zhang lying on the ground with several watermelon rinds beside her feet, and this wooden board nailed to her head. Lu believed that Zhang accidentally stepped on the watermelon rind and fell down, causing her head to hit the wooden board with nails. Then, Lu immediately called an ambulance to take Zhang to the hospital and informed his parents-in-law. When Zhang's parents arrived hospital and saw their daughter, they were confused. How could she fall on the wooden board accidentally? What are the odds? Even so, could the whole nail completely stick into her head? At this time, Zhang's parents had no mind to think about how this happened. They just waiting anxiously outside the operating room for their daughter. After the surgery, the doctor told them that she had been out of danger, but her brain had been severely damaged, and it was very difficult to recover. The doctor also suggested Zhang's parents call the police because after he removed the wooden board, he found 2 holes on Zhang's head. The first hole didn't break through the scalp, but the other one went straight into the brain tissue. Upon hearing this, Zhang's parents couldn't help but shudder, so they called the police. Soon, the police arrived. After checking on Zhang, the police believed that someone deliberately knocked a nail into Zhang's brain. The first attempt failed, but the second time the nail was successfully knocked in. That's why there were 2 holes. However, the police couldn't figure out why the killer chose such a bizarre way to kill Zhang. The police also couldn't obtain any effective clues from the victim. Although Zhang had woken up, she had completely lost her language function and didn't understand what had happened before. The first person the police suspected was her husband, who was at home taking a nap with her at that time, but the police denied this after seeing Lu. Lu was paralyzed from the waist down. The police believed that it would be difficult for a normal person to drive a nail into someone's head, let alone him being unable to stand and relying on his upper limb strength to complete such a strenuous task. Moreover, due to Lu's condition, Zhang took care of him every day. It can be said that Lu was completely dependent on Zhang in his life. Without Zhang, there would be no one to take care of him, so he wouldn't hurt her out of this consideration. Then, the police could only ask Zhang's parents to see if there were any clues. Zhang's mother, who was still in extreme grief, cried to the police that her daughter was very unfortunate recently. She said that her daughter had a car accident just 10 days ago and miscarried. Now, she encountered such an incident. A car accident? Then the police asked Zhang's mother for more details of that car accident. She told the police that 1 month after Zhang got married, Zhang and her husband went to Zhang's parents' home for a visit, but they had a car accident on the way. At that time, Lu was driving, and Zhang was sitting in the front passenger seat. When they turned the corner, they hit a truck. Zhang fell out of the car and miscarried, but there were no other injuries on her. However, Lu was disabled and could only use a wheelchair from then on. After learning this, the police felt that this case seemed to be more complicated than they thought. The next day, a phone call made the police feel that Zhang's husband was the suspect. On that day, Zhang's father received a call from the insurance company inquiring about Zhang's condition. The insurance company staff said that Zhang had accident death insurance shortly before the accident, with a compensation amount of 300,000 yuan, which was equivalent to 40,000 US dollars. The annual premium paid at that time was 660 yuan. This is a kind of insurance with low payment and high compensation, usually only high-risk industries such as construction sites bought for the workers. Why did Jiang buy such an insurance? After learning this information, the police went to the insurance company to retrieve Jiang's insurance policy and found that it was purchased by Lu, and the beneficiary was also him. When buying this kind of death accident insurance, most people will default to choose the legal beneficiary, which means if Jiang had an accident, her parents and husband would share the compensation equally. However, when Lu bought this insurance, he deliberately wrote the beneficiary as himself. So if Jiang died, the 300,000 yuan compensation would be his alone. Recalling the conversation with Jiang's mother, the police made another terrible discovery. Jiang and Lu got married in mid-April. Lu bought insurance at the end of April, and the insurance took effect in mid-May. On June 4th, the two had a car accident. 10 days later, Jiang's head was hit by a nail. Was the car accident also premeditated? The police immediately found the traffic police who handled the car accident to inquire about the situation. The traffic police said that Lu's car hit a truck and the passenger side was damaged badly, almost collapsed completely. The side of the driver's seat was not damaged, and even the car lights were intact, only the windshield glass was broken. According to the damage of the car at that time, it should be Jiang who was seriously injured. Fortunately, she only suffered minor injuries. Lu, who was sitting in the driver's seat and didn't receive direct impact, suffered from lower limb paralysis. After learning the situation, the police wanted to find Lu for questioning, but Jiang's mother told the police that Lu had gone to Beijing. He said that there was a specialist who could treat his legs and left the day before yesterday. The police immediately began to search for Lu's whereabouts, but through the public transportation information, the police found that he didn't go to Beijing, but returned to his hometown Lianyungang. The police finally tracked him down in an internet cafe. To their surprise, Lu walked up to the second floor by himself, and he wasn't paralyzed at all. Therefore, the police immediately arrested him. Lu, who was brought back to Zhuzhou City by the police, confessed to the crime. That day, he gave Jiang 2 sleeping pills and lied to her that they were anti-inflammatory drugs. After Jiang fell asleep, he used a hammer to drive a nail into her head. The first time he failed to get it in, so he did it again more forcefully. Then he dragged Jiang to the balcony and threw several watermelon rinds on the ground. To be on the safe side, he even rubbed her shoes against the watermelon rinds. Seeing that Jiang was almost dying, he called an ambulance, but unexpectedly, Jiang was rescued. The reason why he got married in April was to get this insurance compensation. The previous car accident was also planned by him, but failed. Therefore, he pretended to be paralyzed and carried out a second plan to kill his wife. However, this is not all of Lu's crimes. After learning that Lu was the murderer, Jiang's parents recalled another incident and told the police about it. It turned out that their son, Jiang's younger brother Kong, died unexpectedly 2 years ago, and he also had insurance. At that time, Kong died accidentally due to an electric leakage from a rice cooker. Afterward, the insurance company gave his parents 550,000 yuan. The insurance came into effect at the end of August that year, and Kong died on September 5th. The police who learned of this immediately retrieved Kong's insurance policy from 2 years ago. This insurance was purchased by Kong, and the salesman who sold this insurance was Lu. After Kong's accident, Lu tried to collect the compensation on behalf of Kong's parents, but the insurance company insisted that Kong's parents collect it. After Kong's parents received the compensation, Lu found them and said he still had to handle many claims procedures for them, which required 200,000 yuan. Kong's parents believed him and gave him 200,000 yuan, which was less than 30,000 US dollars. Based on these things, it's safe to say that Lu was trying to cheat insurance money by killing people. However, the case that was originally believed to be solid evidence has undergone another change. On November 19, 2009, Liu was charged with murder and insurance fraud. In court, Liu denied that he was involved in the two murder cases and insisted that those were just accidents. He even asked the prosecutor, "Are the police and insurance personnel who handled the case back then all idiots? If it was murder instead of an accident, couldn't they see it?" Since Kong died 2 years ago, the scene and physical evidence have long been gone, only some written materials, death certificates, and the insurance company's compensation instructions. Eventually, the judge decided to let the police supplement the evidence and temporarily not make a judgment on this case. This result made Zhang's parents indignant and desperate. In fact, Liu had already confessed to the police about his crime when he just got caught. In 2005, Liu, who was 20 years old, became an electrician, but he could barely make ends meet. At the end of the year, at a party, he met Jiang. The two quickly fell in love and lived together. The following year, Jiang's younger brother Kong graduated from college and came to the city where his sister worked. He also wanted to find a job there. Since he had no income for the time being, he temporarily lived with his sister and Liu. At first, Liu was hospitable to Kong, but later, Kong still couldn't find a job and spent a lot of time in the apartment, which made Liu annoyed. One day, Kong asked Liu for 3,000 yuan as startup capital to start a small business. Liu readily lent him the money. With the seed fund, Kong did well in business and earned a lot of money. Seeing Kong's business getting better and better, Liu urged Kong to repay the money as soon as possible. However, Kong played dumb and still lived in the apartment rented by Zhang and Liu without paying rent or repaying the money. For this reason, Liu was mad and began to have the idea of killing him. In August 2007, Liu found a job as an insurance salesman and wanted to use his position to kill Kong and cheat insurance. In order to persuade Kong to buy insurance, Liu kept pestering him. Reluctantly, Kong bought the insurance. A month later, the insurance contract officially came into effect, and Liu began to plan the murder. On September 4th, while Kong was going to the bathroom, Liu secretly tampered with the rice cooker. When Kong came back to use it, he got an electric shock. Liu just stood there watching Kong struggle to die. Originally, Liu wanted to take compensation for Kong's parents, but failed. Therefore, Liu claimed that he needed to pay some fees for the insurance and cheated 200,000 yuan from Zhang's parents. Liu ran out of all the money in 1 year, and he was once again penniless. So he wanted to do it again. That's why he got married later. While the police were looking for more evidence, Zhang's parents were also working hard to help Zhang recover, as she was the most direct witness. Under daily rehabilitation training, Zhang could understand and respond.
给你几粒药吃？哦，吃了2粒。当时他跟你怎么说的？等于说是消炎药是吧？嗯。哦，你就吃了。嗯。吃完都怎么着的？就睡着了。嗯。哦。
Although she still couldn't speak, she could gesture with her fingers to express herself. However, it was still unknown whether Zhang's testimony under such a state would be accepted by the court. On the other hand, after several verifications, the police found that with a few copper wires, it was possible to completely transform an ordinary rice cooker into a murderous tool with a charged surface within just 2 or 3 minutes while Kong was in the bathroom. This was a piece of cake for Liu, who used to be an electrician. A month later, Liu was put on trial again. This time, he was sentenced to death for intentional homicide and fraud. The victims and Zhang's parents finally got justice.
为了机会对社会影响极大，这孩子
终于给我死去的儿子报仇了，
对社会
给我法律给我公正，还我儿子一个公道了。